Thank you all for joining today. First, I'd like to take a minute to thank PDPW for the chance to give you an update on what the dairy innovation has been done. I'd also like to take a minute to commend them on very quickly adapting to what is truly challenging situations right now and still ensuring that we get information out. So thank you to them. A year ago at the same conference, we had a conversation about the need for the state to reinvest in dairy. And in fact, at the opening session of this very conference, there was a handout in the back of the room, which many of you took. And you used that information to contact your legislatures about the need for something like the Dairy Innovation Hub. A lot of times these things don't amount to much, but in this case, it resulted in something truly remarkable in a reinvestment of the state into dairy research, into dairy teaching and dairy outreach. And that's come in a very exciting form. The first one is that this is collaborative across UW-Madison, UW-Platteville, and UW-River Falls, which is really the heart of this, in that it's collaborative and it is all-encompassing of these ag branches. It's also about more than just dairy cow biology. It encompasses certainly aspects of animal health and welfare that a lot of us work on, whether they're reproduction or disease mitigation, but also on aspects of stewarding land and water resources, on enriching human health and nutrition, so products that help our dairy get into consumer hands, whether that's products for unique niche markets like individuals with health problems or challenges, or just specialty products that there's a demand for. It also encompasses growing farm businesses and communities, whether that is infrastructure or development of new products. So all said and done, this is $1 million within the first fiscal year, which we're coming towards the end of now, and $7.8 million a year thereafter, again, split across the 3 campuses. So the 3 campuses have been working together quite extensively. You'll hear in just a minute from my colleagues at Platteville and River Falls as well. But the thought of this is that each university will be focused on all 4 priorities, but will certainly be contributing to those in different ways that leverage our unique strengths that already exist and work to develop more synergies. So what have we been doing on the overall hub, kind of coordinating across the 3? That's a role that I am very honored to serve, as well as Maria Wolt serving as our program manager that's helping coordinate across the campuses. So a lot of legwork, as many of you know, anytime you put something together, whether it's a professional organization or a business, so we've been working on things like templates and protocols and budget tracking, reporting, a very strong commitment from all 3 campuses and faculty on being transparent in these processes. We've had bi-weekly discussions for the deans of the 3 campuses as well as faculty to collaborate and to brainstorm ideas on how we can have calls for proposals and priorities. A lot of communication with stakeholders and the trade associations that were champions for this as it went through the process, whether that be PDPW or DBA, Farm Bureau or cheesemakers. And then we've recruited and hired the program manager, and we're also developing communication strategies that will include an annual or biannual dairy summit, which details will be coming. So on that note, I'll introduce Steve Kelm, who's here with us today, who is the faculty liaison from UW-River Falls, and he'll give us an update specific to that campus.
Thank you very much, Heather. On behalf of my colleagues at UW-River Falls, I can say how excited I am for having the opportunity to contribute to the Dairy Innovation Hub. Now, in case you have not been to River Falls, on the off chance you haven't been there recently, River Falls is on the border of St. Croix and Pierce County is about 30 miles east of Minneapolis-St. Paul. The whole university itself has 6,000 undergraduate students, and about 25% of those students are in the College of Agriculture, Food, and Environmental Science, or CAFEs. Now, as shown on there, we have over 100 years of tradition being formed 1874 as part of the normal school system, part of teacher education. A Department of Agriculture was formed there in 1912. And so that agriculture and teacher education have been hugely important to our campus for a lot of years. As you can see, we have just under 50 faculty members there. We have 14 different majors, and although our role in the UW system as a four-year comprehensive campus has been strongly linked to undergraduate education, we've recognized for quite some time that undergraduate research is a best practice in teaching, and so we certainly are not a stranger to research and providing answers to an industry. We have a number of connections, whether it's on-farm or private industry. 4 of the on-campus facilities that we're going to be utilizing extensively, obviously our Man Valley Laboratory Farm, where we milk 100 Holsteins and Jerseys. We also have our beef, sheep, and swine enterprises there with small poultry and meat goat projects. We also on campus have the food and bioprocessing engineering, where you might see compost research happening. We have a renovation on campus on our dairy pilot plant and our food manufacturing side, which is, once it comes online within the next 12 months, will be a fantastic addition to both our teaching capability, but just as importantly, our ability to provide answers in research. And in our soil and water analysis, we may find colleagues working with partners such as the Western Wisconsin Conservation Agency, a watershed council that we have in our area. Going to specifically where we are at, as Heather said, year one, a bit more of a limited year, simply because of when the money was approved, focusing a lot on gearing up relative to equipment and renovation. I would anticipate full implementation of the Dairy Innovation Hub on our campus within the next 2 to 4 years. That will include 5 additional faculty positions and, importantly, dollars for increased labs and equipment purchases. If you take a look at what we've been doing over the last year, you will see that there is a local steering committee, which myself and then department chairs are on. We have just finished reviewing faculty research fellowships. Faculty research fellowships are there for existing faculty members who have a great idea, but simply haven't had the time or resources to dedicate to pursuing that. So we're excited to have that. We have another supply and equipment call for proposals. That might be renovating lab space. It might be purchasing equipment. That's incredibly critical for a smaller campus like ours that hasn't been as involved in research, for example, in a campus as, for example, as large as Madison. Lastly, we are involved right now in a staff search for a dairy herd research manager. As you add research to the farm, you interrupt the flow of the farm, and that's exactly what a university herd is for. But it does create more work, and so having a manager there to help will definitely ease the burden. And we are just in the final processes of approving a position, our first faculty position in dairy welfare. So, as I said, we're very excited to be working together on the Dairy Innovation Hub with our colleagues at Madison and Platteville. And Dr. Tera Montgomery, my colleague at Platteville, will give you an update on what's happening there.
Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate the opportunity to let everybody know what we've been up to. So in a similar sense, just a little bit about the School of Agriculture at UW-Platteville. We've got about 700 students enrolled in our undergraduate programs across the School of Agriculture. So we don't have separate departments, but we have programs within the department. You can see our majors listed there. Animal and dairy science, by far the, along with ag business, our biggest majors. And then we have a number of students in our other majors. All of our students are very involved in hands-on activities. We have lots of clubs, organizations, and teams. And then we also have a good number of faculty and staff, but we're excited to be able to utilize the Dairy Innovation Hub to grow our faculty and staff, specifically with regard to how we can improve the dairy industry. Another really key asset that we have is Pioneer Farm. So we do a lot of work at Pioneer Farm. We have 3 species, or 3 areas out there, dairy, beef, and swine. But then another big component of what we do out there is agroecology research. And so we have lots of students from all over campus. We're a smaller campus, but we certainly do engage a lot across engineering and education for both educating the students across campus, but then also doing research in a lot of areas. And then we are a fully functioning farm in terms of our 165 head of milking cattle being milked twice a day. So lots of clubs do events out there. And then we also have a space out at Pioneer Farm for external parties to be able to come out and utilize the facilities. We're starting to do more research, especially within the dairy herd itself. So taking a look at what we've been up to, a number of things in the first year along the lines of equipment and facility renovation. So like Steve said, up at River Falls, there's some catch-up that we have to do to be able to be at capacity where we want to be able to really fully implement the Dairy Innovation Hub. And so that's what we're working on this year, as well as spending a lot of time collaborating across all 3 campuses, which, as has been said before, is really an exciting part of this. Full implementation within the next couple of years, about 5 research faculty, postdoctoral teaching and research fellows, along with being able to allow some of our current faculty more time to expand upon their research and engage undergraduates in that research. And specifically taking a look at what we've done so far and what we continue to do. Our local steering committee is listed there. Myself, along with directors of the School of Ag and Pioneer Farm, and then some other folks from across campus, working on enhancing what we can do on farm for dairy robotics in a lot of different areas. So we're really excited about that, reaching out to different folks for ideas and thoughts on how we can best utilize what we have out at Pioneer Farm especially. We have started our faculty search for dairy nutritionists, as well as an agriculture biological systems engineer looking at wastewater treatment on farm, both from a dairy perspective and also from a cheese plant perspective. We just finished up our call for research fellowships. We've got 12 really exciting projects to look through and use our local advisory board to help us sort through those. And then we also have a research technician position that we're developing out at Pioneer Farm, as well as a couple of postdoctoral teaching fellowship positions. So a lot of really exciting stuff going on, and we're not slowing down just because of some of the challenges that we've had here recently. So now we'll turn it back over to Dr. Heather White to talk about UW-Madison.
Great. Thank you to both Tara and Steve for great updates. At UW-Madison, the College for the CALS is really posed well to do research as it integrates with dairy innovation across the different disciplines, cow biology and stewarding land and water resources, animal health, and growing farm businesses. And a lot of those departments are departments that have faculty and students which you may be familiar with. We have food science, and departments of dairy science, applied ag econ. And so across these different departments, we have about 225 faculty, 45 of these with extension funding. And this is something that's really well integrated within our college. in that not just extension faculty do outreach activity, but a lot of faculty across many departments have active outreach programs where we're communicating directly with stakeholders and with the end users of our research. Our undergraduates span across these departments and majors as well, including many which have a strong passion for the dairy industry. A lot of them come from the dairy industry. A lot of them also come from different backgrounds and view this as a really viable future career option or path. And so we like to get those students excited about dairy as well. The first year for us at Madison, we funded 6 postdocs. I'll tell you a little bit more about these calls in a second, but we had postdoc calls. And a postdoctoral research fellow is someone that can come into a lab of an established faculty member who's already on campus, and they're not looking to complete a degree. So they're focused on becoming more independent in their thinking and their research. They may want to go on to be faculty, but they may also want to go on into industry. These are people who are dedicated to doing innovative research. So it's a great way to get some research off the ground and running really quickly. We've also had some equipment calls and dairy task force projects, which I'll tell you just a little bit more about in a minute. We've been working together with the other campuses and overall towards the Dairy Innovation Summit, which you've heard us say. And this is something that we hope that will happen later this calendar year. Full implementation for us looks like about a dozen faculty across the 4 priority areas, a rotating group of 14 to 24 trainees, so graduate students and postdocs that will be for 2-year terms, and then they'll rotate through as we bring in new cohorts and then as they graduate or move on. We'll be working towards an advanced dairy management academy, which will be an additional level of teaching and outreach, professional development opportunities for folks to learn from the researchers across the campuses. And then research farm, lab, and equipment support, as you've heard said already. On campus, we've put together a local steering committee with the thought or the driver of having 2 individuals contribute representing each of the priority areas. So you'll see here that we have faculty from dairy science, food science, nutritional sciences, ag and applied econ, biosystems engineering. And many of the individuals that are involved in this were identified through brainstorming sessions that we had on campus, where we invited everyone, faculty, staff, representatives of the different centers that we work with on campus, to come and brainstorm things like what are the innovative opportunities that we have moving forward, and what we need on campus to get that done. And so these people expressed a lot of interest in being involved. So far, like I indicated, we funded 6 postdocs. We had 13 proposals submitted for that. And we've also had a call for capacity building equipment. Really uniquely, this was set up so that if there was innovative research questions that we currently had people to ask, but not the equipment to allow the research to happen, that's what was prioritized. So we funded 7 proposals just very recently. We also have a call for short-term high-impact projects, and these are projects that will yield tangible outcomes within 1 to 2 years, many of which we hope will address some of the Dairy Task Force 2.0 recommendations. Although not all researchable questions, many of these are things we have expertise that we can help with. We've developed 4 faculty positions and hiring procedures and priorities for this coming year, and we're also developing a graduate student call for proposals. Stepping back again to the bigger picture across the campuses, we have developed an advisory council group with representation of stakeholders, farmers, the professional membership societies that we're champions of this through. We've given them opportunities to weigh in on faculty priorities, external feedback on our call for proposals and on the proposals submitted. And we're very excited about working together across the 3 and across the 4 priority areas to provide high impact, innovative research, teaching, and outreach to the dairy industry here in Wisconsin. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions to myself or to my colleagues here with me if there are any.
Just one moment. We do have a question on the floor here for you.
Okay, this one's for Dr. White. What is the thing that you are most excited about right now with Dairy Innovation Hub?
Honestly, the thing that I'm most excited about is developing new collaboration across the 3 campuses. We've had opportunities to talk, the 3 deans and myself, but also with the faculty liaison, Steve and Tera. We've come up with some really exciting ideas of how to have graduate students that can work across collaborations between Platteville and Madison or River Falls and Madison, co-mentor those. We're opening up collaborative discussions that are just really unique and probably long overdue.
Okay, so I'm getting in trouble because we're 2 minutes over, so this is going to be a short answer. The next one is, if you could summarize for our citizens of the state of Wisconsin and for our members of the dairy industry, so what? Why is this such a big stinking deal? What would be your elevator speech?
This prioritizes opportunities for high-impact research that gets solutions into end users' hands, whether that's farmers, nutritionists, or cheesemakers or the like, in very short term. It also emphasizes the importance of dairy research and education from the state to UW systems.